Welcome back. I'm Pratap here. Today is the 28th November 2024. In this video, I'm going to generate different supply demand zone reports useful to the premium subscribers. Now our software is also supporting the newly added 45 stocks into the F&O list. So currently our software is analyzing 240 stocks that includes 17 indices and 223 F&O stocks. Okay, first report, let us find the stocks near demand and supply zones for different time frames. Starting with half yearly time frame, stocks near half yearly demand zone. We did not get any stocks. Half yearly time frame, stocks near half yearly supply zone. We got one stock. I'm giving you only few seconds time to watch the report. I request you pause the video, study the report and then proceed further. In case if you does not understand how to study the report, I request you complete our training lesson 21.1. In that video I have explained each and every column, their values, abbreviations in detail. Okay, now let's move on to the next time frame, quarterly, stocks near quarterly demand zone. We got two stocks. Next quarterly time frame, stocks near quarterly supply zone. We got four stocks. Next time frame is monthly, stocks near monthly demand zone. We got five stocks. Next monthly time frame, stocks near monthly supply zone. We got six stocks. Next monthly time frame, price closed inside the monthly demand zone. We got 26 stocks, but some of these zones are pierced zones. Let us eliminate. So I'm selecting monthly demand zone. This monthly demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count, at monthly time frame, I'm setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. With that filter, we got 20 stocks. These 20 monthly demand zones are not pierced. We are currently price closed inside these monthly demand zones. You can also filter. You can also identify high probability supported monthly demand zones. Some of these zones are already high liquidity zones that you can observe from this list. But based on the EMA Confluence at monthly time frame, monthly demand zone having monthly EMA Confluence, and the trend should not be sideways for EMA Confluence because that does not give any extra advantage. So that's why in the zone violation trend at monthly time frame, I'm selecting up or down trend. So total 12 stocks. So all these monthly demand zones are having monthly EMA Confluence. Monthly trend is nothing but LTF trend. Whichever the time frame you select, that time frame always you should look into the LTF time frame. Okay, next monthly time frame, price closed inside the monthly supply zone, and these monthly supply zones should not be pierced. So pierced count, monthly time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. With this filter, we got 8 stocks, 8 monthly supply zones. In these monthly 8 supply zones, how many are having monthly EMA Confluence? So in the EMA Confluence at monthly time frame, monthly supply zones are having monthly EMA Confluence filter is set, and that monthly the trend should not be sideways. So I am selecting up or down trend. With these filters, we did not get any stocks. Okay, next time frame is weekly. Stocks near weekly demand zone. We got 8 stocks. Next, weekly time frame, stocks near weekly supply zone. We got 12 stocks. Next, weekly time frame, price closed inside the weekly demand zone, and these demand zones, weekly demand zones, should not be pierced. So in the pierced count, weekly time frame, minimum value 0, maximum value 0. And we got monthly demand zones where price closed inside the monthly demand zones. First 19 stocks. I am scrolling the list down. So total 22 stocks are filtered. In these monthly demand zones, the high probability supported zones, one way you can consider based on the high liquidity zones, and another way based on EMA Confluence. In the EMA Confluence, weekly time frame, weekly demand zones are having weekly EMA Confluence, and the trend should be on weekly time frame, either up or down trend. We got 9 stocks. These 9 weekly demand zones are having, in these 9 weekly demand zones, they are having weekly EMA Confluence. Okay, next, weekly time frame, price closed inside the weekly supply zone, and those weekly supply zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count, weekly time frame, minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means zone is not pierced. Let's filter. We got a very big list. Currently price closed in many weekly in many weekly supply zones. I'm scrolling the list down. Again, I am scrolling the list down. So total 36 stocks are filtered, where price closed inside weekly supply zones. But how many of these supply zones are having weekly EMA Confluence? Let's verify. In the EMA Confluence, weekly time frame, weekly supply zones are having weekly EMA Confluence. And weekly EMA Confluence is valid only in the trending market, that is uptrend or downtrend. Let's filter. So these are the 15 stocks, first 15 stocks. I'm scrolling the list down. So total 17 stocks are filtered. These 17 stocks supply zones are having weekly EMA Confluence. Some of these supply zones are even high liquidity zones, apart from having EMA Confluence. Okay, this is about the weekly time frame, and the next time frame is daily. Entry time frame daily. Let's find the stocks near daily demand zone. We got 7 stocks. Let's identify high liquidity demand zones from this list. NIFTY is having a high liquidity daily demand zone. This is healthcare index, not listed in F&O. NTPC is having a high liquidity daily demand zone. Wipro is having a high liquidity daily demand zone. We have identified 3 high liquidity daily demand zones from this list. Okay. So next, daily time frame. Let's find the stocks near daily supply zone. We got 5 stocks. Let's identify the high liquidity supply zones. Pidilite Industries is having a daily high liquidity supply zone. That's it. We have only one stock near to the high liquidity supply zone. Okay, next for daily time frame, let's find the stocks where price closed inside daily demand zone. And these daily demand zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced column, pierced count column, at a daily time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means daily demand zone should not be pierced. Now let's filter. We got 13 stocks. Currently price closed in these 13 daily demand zones. Okay, how many of these daily demand zones are having a daily EMA confluence? Let us identify. In the EMA confluence, at a daily time frame, daily demand zones are having daily EMA confluence. And that EMA confluence, when you verify, the trend should not be sideways. So in zone violation trend and daily time frame, I am selecting up or down trend. So 4 stocks. In these 4 daily demand zones, they are having a daily EMA confluence. Generally such kind of zones you should use as HTF zones or ITF zones in your trade setup plans. Demand zones trend is up, you can plan bullish trade setups. If it is downtrend, you can plan counter trend trade setups. That way this list will be useful for weekly, monthly and daily, because generally we use them as HTF zones or ITF zones. Zone with EMA confluence should be always useful for HTF or ITF zones, not LTF. Okay, this is about price closed inside the daily demand zone. Next, for daily time frame, price closed inside daily supply zone, and these daily supply zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count, at a daily time frame, minimum value I am setting 0, maximum value 0. That means zone is not pierced. So with this filter, we got a big list. These are the first 15 stocks. I'm scrolling the list down. So total 20 stocks are filtered. Currently price closed in these 20 daily supply zones. So out of these 20, how many are having how many of these daily supply zones are having daily EMA confluence? Let's verify. So in the EMA confluence, at a daily time frame, daily supply zones are having daily EMA confluence. Filter is enabled, but the trend should be, daily trend should not be sideways. That's why in the zone violation trend at a daily time frame, I am selecting up or down trend. With these filters, we got 10 stocks. Out of 20, these 10 stocks are having supply zones, daily supply zones having daily EMA confluence. Here downtrend related zones can be planned for bearish trade setup. Uptrend related supply zones we can plan for counter trend trade setup. That way you can use this list. Okay, this is about daily time frame. Next time frame is 125 minutes. Stocks near 125 minutes demand zone. 8 stocks are filtered. Next 125 minutes time frame, stocks near 125 minutes supply zone, we got 10 stocks. Next time frame is 75 minutes. Entry time frame 75 minutes. Let us find the stocks near 75 minutes demand zone. We got 10 stocks. Let us identify high liquidity 75 minutes demand zones from this list. ACC is having a high liquidity zone. Tech Mahindra is having high liquidity zone. So that means we identified two high liquidity 75 minutes demand zones from this list. Okay, next for 75 minutes time frame, let's find the stocks near 75 minutes supply zone. 12 stocks are filtered. Let's find high liquidity 75 minutes supply zones. We don't have any 75 minutes high liquidity supply zones from this list. Okay. Next time frame is 25 minutes. Stocks near 25 minutes demand zone. We got 7 stocks. Next 25 minutes time frame. Stocks near 25 minutes supply zone. We got 12 stocks. Okay, next time frame is 15 minutes. Stocks near 15 minutes demand zone. We got 8 stocks. Now let's verify how many of these stocks are having ITF demand zone confluence. LTF and ITF. That means 15 minutes and 75 minutes demand zone confluence. Enable the filter. With this filter we got 5 stocks. In all these 5 demand zones, they have confluence with 75 minutes. But fourth one is pierced. You have to ignore the pierced zones. Okay, next for 15 minutes time frame, stocks near 15 minutes supply zone, we got 13 stocks. So how many of these supply zones are having ITF supply zone confluence? That is 15 minute supply zone with 75 minute supply zone confluence filter enabled. With this filter, we got 8 stocks. Here the supply zone is pierced, the second one. You have to ignore them. Okay, next time frame is 5 minutes. Let's find the stocks near 5 minutes demand zone. 11 stocks are filtered. Out of these 11, how many are having ITF confluence? That is 5 minutes demand zone with 15 minutes demand zone confluence. So with this filter, 6 stocks are filtered. Some of these 5 minutes demand zones are pierced zones. You have to ignore them. Okay, next for 5 minutes time frame, stocks near 5 minutes supply zone. We got 12 stocks. We can further filter this list based on ITF supply zone confluence. That is 5 minute supply zone with 15 minute supply zone confluence. I am enabling that filter. So with this filter, we got 6 stocks. You can ignore the zones that are pierced. Okay. So this is about stocks near demand and supply zones. So next, let us identify Nifty and Bank Nifty supply demand zone chain. Let's start with Nifty, starting from monthly time frame, generating monthly supply demand zone chain. Sorry, some mistake. Yeah, generating monthly supply demand zone chain for Nifty. Always look into the zone column to find the high liquidity zones. Look into the pierced column to find the pierced zones. Always look into the LTF trend to find the trend of the time frame you have selected. So follow these rules for the remaining reports. Okay, next, weekly demand zone chain for Nifty. Okay, next, daily demand zone chain for Nifty. Okay, next 125 minutes supply demand zone chain for Nifty. Okay, next 75 minutes supply demand zone chain for Nifty. Okay, next 25 minutes supply demand zone chain for Nifty. Okay, next 15 minutes supply demand zone chain for Nifty. Next 5 minutes supply demand zone chain for Nifty. So we have completed Nifty supply demand zone chain, but here we have only 4 demand zones. Let me scroll the list so that you can find more 5 minutes demand zones. Okay, this is Nifty supply demand zone chain. Next, Bank Nifty supply demand zone. Let me change it to Nifty Bank. Starting with monthly time frame, monthly supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty I am generating. Okay, next, weekly supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Okay, next, daily supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Okay, next 125 minute supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next 75 minute supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next 25 minute supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next 15 minute supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. And the last time frame 5 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. So this is a Bank Nifty supply demand zone chain. We have completed both Nifty and Bank Nifty. And next, let us look for bullish and bearish trade setups for monthly, weekly and daily income trades. Let's start with monthly income trade bullish trade setup. Entry time frame is daily. Entry zone should be demand zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at entry time frame daily, I am selecting bullish. And this daily demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at daily time frame, entry time frame, I am selecting minimum value 0. maximum value 0, zone achievement violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score is 12. All the three filters are applied to daily demand zone. Now let's filter the stocks. We got a big list. I'm scrolling the list down. So total 24 stocks are filtered, and these 24 stocks are supporting bullish trade setup for monthly income trade. That is entry time frame, daily demand zones. Out of these 24 stocks, there could be high probability setup supported stocks might be available. So that's why the first filter is based on LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. So with this, I'm going to add LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. That is nothing but daily and weekly demand zone confluence filter is enabled. With this filter, we got 13 stocks. All these 13 stocks, the entry time frame daily demand zones are part of the weekly demand zone. And if these weekly demand zones are having weekly EMA confluence, they are even more high probability trade setups, because weekly means ITF time frame. ITF trend is up in all these stocks. So I'm going back. In the EMA confluence, weekly time frame, because the daily demand zone is part of the weekly zone. So that's why weekly demand zone, sorry, I'm selecting the wrong field. EMA confluence at weekly time frame, because the daily demand zone is part of the weekly. So we are looking for weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence. So filter is set. Let's filter the stocks. We got 5 stocks. So these 5 are high probability trade setups, because entry time frame daily is part of the weekly demand zone, and that weekly demand zone is having weekly EMA confluence, and the weekly trend is up in all these stocks. Okay, next next high probability trade setup is based on LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence. Let's verify. I have to remove this EMA filter. I removed it. So in the demand zone confluence, we need to set 3 filters. First filter is already enabled. That is the daily demand zone with weekly demand zone confluence. So second filter, daily demand zone with monthly demand zone confluence. Third filter, weekly demand zone with monthly demand zone confluence are set, and with all these 3 filters, we got only one stock. So in this stock, the daily entry time frame, this is the entry time frame daily demand zone. This demand zone is part of the weekly demand zone. Both together again part of the monthly demand zone. Part of means confluence, zone confluence are overlapped. And this trend, HTF trend, that is nothing but monthly, because the daily zone is part of the weekly zone, both together part of the monthly zone. Monthly is HTF. So the HTF trend is up. We can also look for EMA confluence. This is having EMA confluence. This stock can be even more high probability trade setup, supported stock. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at monthly time frame, monthly demand zone having monthly EMA confluence. So that is not having any monthly EMA confluence. Okay, this is about bullish trade setup for monthly income trade. Next, bearish trade setup for monthly income trade. Entry time frame is daily, entry zone, supply zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at entry time frame daily, I am selecting bearish. This daily supply zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at daily time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Zone achievement violated opposing zone, minimum odd enhancer score 12. All 3 filters are applied to daily supply zone. Now let's filter the stocks. We got 3 stocks. Currently, these 3 stocks are supporting bearish trade setup for monthly income trade. The entry time frame and zones are daily supply zones. So in these 3 daily, how many are having a ITF supply zone confluence? Let's verify. That is a daily supply zone with a weekly supply zone confluence. I am enabling that filter. So with this filter, out of those 3 stocks, we got all the 3. That means in all the 3 stocks, the daily supply zone is part of the weekly supply zone. Because the weekly trend is down, if any of these stocks are having a weekly supply zones with weekly EMA confluence, they are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. So let's verify. In the EMA confluence at weekly time frame, because the daily supply zone is part of the weekly supply zone. That's why weekly supply zone is having weekly EMA confluence. Let's filter. We got 1 stock. Okay, this is about this is based on LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. Next, let us look for LTF, ITF, HTF supply zone confluence and removing this EMA filter. And in the supply zone confluence, we need to add 3 filters. First filter is already enabled. That is a daily with weekly supply zone confluence. Next, daily supply zone with monthly supply zone confluence filter and weekly supply zone with monthly supply zone confluence filter are enabled. With all the 3 filters, we got 1 stock. If this supply zone is having weekly EMA confluence, it could be even more high probability setup. Let's verify. Not weekly, monthly. Because daily zone is part of weekly, both together again part of the monthly zone. That's why we need to look for monthly. So in the EMA confluence at monthly time frame, monthly supply zone having monthly EMA confluence filter is enabled. Yes, it is having even monthly supply zone having monthly EMA confluence. So it's a high probability trade setup supported stock. Okay, this is about bearish trade setup, monthly income trade. Next, bullish trade setup, weekly income trade, entry time frame 75 minutes, entry zone, demand zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at entry time frame 75 minutes, I am selecting bullish. This 75 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 75 minutes time frame, minimum value I am setting 0. Maximum value is 0. That means zone is not pierced. Zone achievement violated opposing zone. Minimum order enhances score 12. With all the 3 filters are applied to 75 minutes demand zone. Now let's verify. We got 6 stocks. Currently these 6 stocks are supporting bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. That is entry time frame and entry zones are 75 minutes demand zone. Out of these 6 75 minutes demand zones, there could be some high probability supported zones might be available. We can find them based on zone confluence, 75 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. Let me enable the filter. 75 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. With this filter, 5 stocks are filtered. In all these 5 stocks, the entry time frame 75 minutes demand zones, they are part of the daily demand zone, and daily trend is up in all the 5 stocks. That's why if any of these stocks are having daily EMA confluence, they are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence, because 75 minutes entry demand zone is part of the daily demand zone, so that's why the daily demand zone having daily EMA confluence. With this filter, we got only 1 stock. It is a high probability trade setup supported stock. Okay, next let us look for LTF, ITF, HTF, demand zone confluence. That is 75 minutes daily and weekly. First we have to remove EMA filter. So in the demand zone confluence, 3 filters we need to set. One filter is already enabled, that is the daily demand zone. 75 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. Next 75 minutes demand zone with weekly demand zone confluence. Daily demand zone with weekly demand zone confluence. All the 3 filters are enabled. With these 3 filters, LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence, we got 4 stocks. In all these 4 stocks, the entry time frame, because all these are all entry time frame demand zones. These demand zones, 75 minutes demand zones, are part of the daily demand zone, both together again part of the weekly demand zone. That means everything is part of weekly zone. So that's why if weekly demand zone is having weekly EMA confluence, that is HTF. But trend should be up, not sideways. So let's verify. In the EMA confluence, weekly time frame, because the 75 minute zone together with daily is part of the weekly zone. So that's why weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence. We got 3 stocks. First one you can ignore because HTF trend is sideways. Remaining 2 are supporting EMA confluence. So the second and third stocks are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. That's the demand zones. So this is about bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. Next, bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. Entry time frame is 75 minutes. Entry zone is supply zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup, at 75 minutes entry time frame, I am selecting bearish. This 75 minute supply zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 75 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Zone achievement violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhances score 12. All 3 filters are applied to 75 minute supply zone. Let's verify. We got 8 stocks. Currently these 8 stocks are supporting bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. Okay, out of these 8, some high probability supported supply zones might be available. Let's find them based on LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. That is nothing but 75 minutes and daily supply zone confluence. So I'm enabling the filter. 75 minute supply zone with the daily supply zone confluence. With this filter, we got 7 stocks. In all these 7 stocks, the supply zones are having daily EMA confluence. They are part of the daily zone and daily EMA confluence that daily zone is having. And the trend is a downtrend because the daily supply zone is 75 minutes entry zone, supply zone is part of the daily supply zone. And the daily trend is down. If any of these daily supply zones are having daily EMA confluence, they are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let's verify out of 7 how many we will get. In the EMA confluence at daily time frame, because the 75 minute supply zone is part of the daily supply zone. So that's why daily supply zone having daily EMA confluence filter is enabled. With this filter, we got 3 stocks. These 3 are even more high probability supported 75 minute supply zones. Okay, this is about bearish trade setup for bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. Next, let us look for bullish trade setup for daily income trade. Entry time frame 15 minutes. Entry zone, demand zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup, at entry time frame 15 minutes, I am selecting bullish. and this 15 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 15 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Zone achievement violated opposing zone, minimum order enhancer score 12. All three filters are applied to 15 minutes demand zone. We got 9 stocks. All these 9 stocks are currently supporting bullish trade setup for daily income trade, and entry zones are 15 minutes demand zones. All these demand zones are entry zones. Out of these 9 15 minutes demand zones, there could be some high probability supported demand zones might be available. We need to find those stocks. So for that, first filter is based on LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. That is nothing but 15 minutes demand zone with 75 minutes demand zone confluence. I am enabled the filter. With this filter, we got 9 stocks. So these 9 stocks, the 15 minutes demand zones are part of the 75 minutes demand zone. Because the 75 minutes trend, that is ITF trend, is uptrend, if those 75 minutes zones are having daily EMA confluence, they could be even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at 75 minutes time frame, 75 minutes demand zone having daily EMA confluence. With this filter, we got only 3 stocks. So these 3 are even more high probability setup supported stocks. Okay, this is about LTF and ITF based confluence and also EMA confluence. Next, let us look for LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence. First, we need to remove EMA filter. Next, in the demand zone confluence, we need to set 3 filters. The first filter is already enabled, 15 minutes demand zone with 75 minutes demand zone confluence. Second filter is 15 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. Third filter is 75 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, we get LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence. We don't have any stocks. So let's verify. Demand zones, score in bullish trade setup. Demand zone confluence, daily 75, daily 15, 75, 15. That means none of the stocks are having a LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence. Okay, next, bearish trade setup for daily income trade. Entry time frame is 15 minutes. Entry zone is supply zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at 15 minutes time frame, I am selecting bearish. These 15 minute supply zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 15 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Zone achievement violated opposing zone. Minimum order enhancer score 12. All 3 filters are applied to 15 minute supply zone. So let's filter. We got 9 stocks. All these 9 stocks are currently supporting bearish trade setup for daily income trade. And the entry zones are 15 minute supply zones. Out of these 9 15 minute supply zones, there could be some high probability supported stocks might be available. Let's filter. First filter is based on LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. That means 15 minute supply zone with 75 minute supply zone confluence. I am enabling that filter. So with this filter, out of 9 stocks, we got 8 stocks. In all these 8 stocks, the 15 minute supply zones are part of the 75 minute supply zone. Okay. So again, these 8 supply zones, the ITF trend is a downtrend, and moreover, the 15 minute zone is part of the 75 minute zone. and the 75 minutes trend is down, if they are having any EMA Confluence, there could be even more high probability setup supported stocks. Let's verify. In the EMA Confluence, at 75 minutes time frame, 75 minutes supply zone having daily EMA Confluence filter is enabled. With this filter, we got 4 stocks. All these 4 are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Okay, now let's look for LTF, ITF, HTF, supply zone confluence. How to remove EMA filter? I removed it. So in the supply zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First filter is already enabled, 15 minute supply zone with 75 minute supply zone confluence. Second filter, 15 minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. Third filter is a 75 minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF, HTF, supply zone confluence, we got 5 stocks. In all these 5 stocks, the entry time frame 15 minute supply zones are part of the 75 minute supply zone, both together again part of the daily supply zone. And the daily trend should be down. 2 stocks we have downtrend, second and fourth. If they are having any EMA Confluence, that is daily EMA Confluence, there could be even more high probability setup supported stocks. Let's verify. In the EMA Confluence, at a daily time frame, daily supply zone having daily EMA Confluence, enable the filter. With this filter, we got 4 stocks, all 4 stocks. But you have to ignore second and third because the HTF trend is sideways, that is daily trend. But first one and fourth one are high probability trade supported, even more high probability trade supported zones. So this is about bearish trade setup for daily income trade. That is entry time frames are 15 minute supply zones. Okay, now in the final report, let's generate stop buffers based on daily ATR. Okay, first 17 in this list are indices, remaining all are equity stocks. I keep on scrolling the list down. Whichever the stock you want to refer, there you please pause the video. After that you can proceed. I'm scrolling the list down. So this is the end of the report. Hope this information will be useful to you for your further study and analysis. Let's all meet again in our next video. Thank you.